I am a wandering spirit, trying to eke out a living in the mortal world. I found a house with a kind owner. There were no altars, no guardian deities. So, every day I'd stop by, ask for a bowl of rice, use the bathroom, and nap in their bed. He couldn't see me anyway. Then, one day, I invited my demon friend to share the free meal. To my surprise, the moment it saw him, it turned ghost pale, let out a piercing shriek, and bolted. My name is Seraphina, an 18-year-old female ghost. I passed away on the 7th day of a certain month, but my memories are hazy, so people just call me Seraphina 7 days. Ghosts like me don't remember how we died or who we were, so we're called unliberated souls. No identity, no one to worship us, and the path to reincarnation is blocked. Even the Underworld doesn't bother to record insignificant ghosts like us, leaving us to fend for ourselves as long as we don't break the laws of the Netherworld. So, we lonely wild ghosts, with no means of survival in the Underworld, had to risk coming to the human world to find work and earn our keep. Ghosts, being creatures of yin energy, hiding in the vibrant yang world during the day, is incredibly detrimental to our essence. Even if we find dark places to sleep during the day, we can't avoid harm to our souls. But what can we do? Ghosts also have feelings and senses. We don't die from hunger, but we suffer immensely, especially gluttons like me. In my 2nd year as a ghost, all the money I earned went into food. While other ghosts saved up for makeup, trying to flirt with high-ranking spirits to get registered for marriage in the Underworld for a stable life, my life was just, this is really delicious. This is also delicious. Oh, so good. Absolutely wonderful. Tia, a ghost I work with, constantly criticizes me for only thinking about food and not bothering to flirt with any male ghosts, wasting my flower-like beauty. She even suspects I ate too much and died from it in my past life. I don't think so. On the first 7th day after my death, in a daze, a few fragmented memories flickered. Before I died, I bled profusely and was in immense pain. My death was certainly more tragic than dying from overeating. Seraphina, I'm still going to find the boyfriend tonight. Where are you planning to sleep? Work's over, Sawyer asked me. I chuckled. She asked me, "You afraid?" I have plenty of places to sleep. A few days prior, the abandoned house we were staying in was torn down for reconstruction, so we had to find a new place. Last night, I slept in an outdoor public restroom. Most houses in the human world have guardian deities, making it hard for ghosts to enter. But some houses have restrooms built separately outside, beyond the scope of the indoor deities. Restrooms have heavy yin energy, perfect for ghosts to reside in. But it smelled awful. I had to find a new place tonight. So, I wandered again. Dawn was breaking, and I still hadn't found anywhere. Just as I was about to curl under an aqueduct bridge to sleep through the night, I turned and saw a house still lit up, a huge villa with a flower garden. I sneaked closer. Turns out, this house had no guardian deities. I crept in, and not only were there no guardian deities, but there were no ancestral spirits either. Oh my God, How lucky am I today to find such a good house. In the spacious villa, a tiny ticking sound echoed from upstairs, like water flowing through a drain pipe. Curious, I climbed the stairs. He couldn't see me. So what was there to be afraid of? On the second floor, I saw 3 rooms. I phased through the walls to check each one. Finally, I followed the sound to the largest room. The owner usually stays in the largest room, so it must be his. The room was painted light gray, quite elegant overall, but on the wall hung a painting of a riverbank with brightly colored flowers. I didn't know what kind. Beside the painting was an antique-looking pendulum clock. Perhaps. The room also had a huge walk-in closet, a large sofa, and a peculiar-shaped table in front of it. A massive bed big enough for 5 people, with only a bedside table next to it, on which sat a book and a phone. At that moment, the ticking water sound echoed again. I turned and saw a strange-looking glass room. Not, see, that is strange. Even with my memory loss, I'd seen stores use glass walls as facades, like cake shops, where you could see rows of delicious cakes without even entering. Was there food in here too? But why was there a gushing water sound? I was too curious. I phased through the wall immediately. What hit my eyes was a tall, fair-skinned figure with perfect features. Ah! I quickly covered my eyes, screamed, then turned and phased back through the wall, fleeing. Why? It turned out the owner was taking a shower. I shouldn't look. I shouldn't look. I'm not a lecherous ghost. I'm not lustful at all. Yet I turned back and phased into the bathroom again. I swear, I wasn't peeking at him showering. I just suddenly thought I could take a bath here too. And I wanted to see how he used those shower heads. Because I remember nothing from my previous life, I have to learn many things from scratch. But when I went in, he had already finished showering. He wore a loose white robe and walked out. I followed. He was still in the room. How could I shower? If the water suddenly turned on after being off, it would scare me to death. Scaring the living is against the law, after all. Light offenses lead to detention, heavy ones to prison and punishment. He went to the wardrobe, pulled open a drawer, took out a small object, and plugged it in. A whirring sound filled the room as he used the object to dry his hair. Ah, so this was the hairdryer Sia had told me about. Her boyfriend had one at home. Like a country bumpkin, I watched intently. In just a moment, his hair was completely dry. This little device truly was miraculous. He put the hairdryer away, turned, and walked out, grabbing his phone and sitting on the sofa, starting to browse. I tagged along, but instead of sitting on the sofa, I sat on the table in front of him. His freshly dried hair was lightly puffed, a bit messy but still handsome. He truly was handsome. His skin was fair and smooth, his nose bridge high, his eyebrows and eyes distinctively masculine, eye sockets slightly deep, lips just right. His features were so beautiful that just looking at him made my whole body tingle. Sigh. I sighed. She always said I only knew how to eat and drink and didn't know how to flirt with boys. But I realize now that I hadn't flirted before because all the male ghosts I met were ugly. If I met someone even half as handsome as him, I'd gladly spend money on myself and then kidnap him. He was looking at his phone when he suddenly paused. I noticed it too. Oh my! Could he have seen me? I was so scared, I jumped up. "Hey, handsome, can you see me?" I waved my hand in front of him, but his expression remained normal. He lowered his head and continued looking at his phone. But I was wary. How could a normal house have no guardian deities or ancestral spirits? Unless this wasn't a normal house, or this was a house that didn't believe in gods or ghosts at all. I couldn't guess which it was for sure. So, I decided to test him. I leaned my face close to him, made a ghostly face, and growled. "I am a wicked demon. If you don't tell the truth, I'll wait until you're asleep and eat you." I shrieked again. "I'm very fierce. Understand?" I flinched, about to warn him further, when he stood up and rubbed his stomach. A bit hungry. That was the first sentence I heard him speak. His voice was warm and deep, very pleasant to listen to. After saying that, he turned and walked out. I stealthily followed. He went downstairs to the kitchen, opened the fridge, took out food, and started cooking. It seemed he really didn't see me. While he was cooking, I ran back to the room. In the bathroom, I turned on the faucet. Water gushed out. I quickly turned it off. I suddenly remembered earlier seeing water raining down on his head. I fumbled around for a while and then found the knob. I turned it one notch and opened the faucet. Water suddenly sprayed down on me from above. I'm so smart. This time I got it right, but I just got myself wet. Oh well, I'd been wearing this outfit for a few days anyway. I might as well wash it now, I told myself, then delightedly stood under the shower in the bathroom. After showering, I took my clothes out to wash, even my underwear. He hadn't returned to the room yet. I hung my clothes on his balcony and ran back into the changing room with my underwear. I pulled open a drawer, took out the hairdryer, plugged it in, and dried my underwear until it was crisp, then put it on. Then I dried my hair again. I have long, smooth, black hair that reaches past my shoulders, moderately thick. I have a doll-like face, fair skin. When I was alive, bangs suited me well. Shaya said, "You can't be a wicked demon in this life because you look too adorable, too sweet." And I didn't want to be a wicked demon. Other than occasionally sneaking into people's homes to sleep over and use their bathrooms, I'd never done anything bad. With this kind family, I only used their bathroom and hairdryer. I never wanted to harm him. Suddenly, there was a sound outside the door. I quickly turned off the hairdryer and put it back in the drawer. But when I emerged from the changing room, he was already back in the room. As a thief, I was already nervous. My whole body stiffened. A little scared, but he didn't stop. Didn't even look sideways. Just walked right past me. That's right. He can't see me, I thought, smiling serenely. He walked towards the bathroom. He didn't close the door, so I sneaked in after him. He was brushing his teeth. I also have a toothbrush hidden with my other belongings in the bushes outside. But I always use cheap toothpaste secretly bought from the human world from Underworld peddlers. His toothpaste was translucent, light blue. I leaned in and sniffed it. It smelled heavenly. Tomorrow, after work, I'll bring all my stuff here. I have to try his toothpaste. After brushing his teeth, he returned to the bedroom, sat on the bed, and picked up his phone. I walked back and forth in front of him, but he still didn't even glance at me. Ha ha! He really doesn't see me. He doesn't see me. I laughed gleefully, dancing around in front of him. Tired of dancing, I took off my clothes, wearing only my underwear, and lay elegantly on the bed, posing right in front of him, lying on the comfiest bed, admiring the most handsome man. He was a night owl. He looked at his phone for ages without getting sleepy. I wasn't sleepy either. We ghosts only operate at night in the human world. We sleep soundly for 3 days. What was he so engrossed in watching? I craned my neck, leaning my face close, glancing at his phone screen. Why doesn't he watch TV for a better view? I'm bored to death, lying next to him. He got off the bed and went into the bathroom. When he returned, he pulled open the bedside drawer, took out a tablet, and started watching a movie. He placed a long pillow against the headboard to lean on, set the tablet on a stand, propped up one leg, and began watching. I immediately got excited, perking up and sitting beside him to watch along. But the screen was tiny, and sitting next to him meant tilting my head uncomfortably. I glanced at his propped up leg and saw the space in his lap was the ideal spot for watching movies. I looked up at his handsome face, feeling a little shy, but only for a moment's hesitation. I immediately slithered into his lap. Aw. He leaned against the headboard, and I leaned against his lap. Ah, he was tall and big. Sitting in his lap, I felt tiny. So, I brazenly leaned against him, my head against his firm chest, and watched the movie together. The comedy movie was really funny, but he didn't react at all. Only my laughter filled the room. Ha ha! I'm easily amused. Inside his lap, I watched and chuckled foolishly. It's okay. He can't see me anyway. After the movie, he finally went to sleep. I was suddenly curious. What does he do for a living? If he sleeps until early morning, what time does he go to work? Or is he on vacation? Oh well, it's his business. I'm a ghost. Why worry about trivial matters? Just as dawn broke, there was no rooster crowing, but the pendulum clock on the wall chimed at 6 a.m. His curtains were triple-layered and thick, completely blocking out the sunlight, which is harsh for ghosts. This house really suits me. I delightedly snuggled under his blanket, his arm naturally extended to the edge of the pillow. I gritted my teeth and rested my head on his arm. But I need to wear pajamas to sleep. These underwear are too tight. I took them off immediately and snuggled back under the blanket. He lay on his side, and I lay on mine. Looking up, I met his handsome face and suddenly felt a little embarrassed. But then I remembered he can't see me, and I became brazen and carefree again. I leaned against him, took a deep breath, and a faint scent emanated from him. Strangely, the closer I got to him, the more comfortable I felt. Lying next to him, I felt like I was in a restroom. It truly was the perfect aura for ghosts to reside in. This was the best sleep I'd ever had. Around 4 p.m., he woke up, and I woke up with him. He changed clothes. I put my clothes back on. After washing his face, he tossed his toothbrush into the trash, then opened the cupboard and took out a bunch of toothbrushes, choosing a black one. After his personal hygiene, he went out. I looked at the pile of toothbrushes and secretly took a pink one. I'm a ghost. If a ghost uses something, a human can still use it, right? Otherwise, people wouldn't eat the meat and cakes offered during ancestral worship, would they? Ghosts eat one way, humans another. His toothpaste really smelled good, making my mouth feel cool. I held the bottle of face wash he had just used, mimicked his movements, applied water to my face, created lather, massaged it a few times, then rinsed it clean. Refreshed, truly comfortable. He went downstairs to cook. The TV in the living room was still on, playing the return of the Condor Heroes. One strange thing was, I had no memory of my past life, yet I could still read. I sat on the sofa to watch TV. After the movie ended, he walked over and drew the window curtains. I quickly scurried into a corner of the dining room to hide. It long, he brought dishes to the table. I, a lonely, wild ghost with no memories, had a miserable life in the underworld, and I didn't know he ate. At a glance, I saw fish, meat, vegetables, and soup. 3 savory dishes and 1 soup. He opened the rice cooker. I also sneaked over to see that there was quite a lot of rice. I thought to myself, he probably wouldn't finish it all alone. The round dining table had 2 tiers. The top tier was a circular glass plate, supported underneath by a rotating ring. He arranged the dishes in front of him and began to eat. The aroma of the food was delicious. My stomach rumbled. Curious, I gently pressed on the glass tier and pulled lightly. It really did rotate. Luckily, the small movement didn't startle him. After eating, he took a transparent cover, like a cloche, and placed it over the leftover food. I stared at the food under the cover, drooling. I really wanted to eat it, but I was afraid of scaring him. He went upstairs and came down a while later, wearing leather shoes, a suit, and his hair neatly styled. He looked like an elegant, tall, and handsome professional. "Are you going to work?" I followed him to the door, watched him change shoes, and grab a bunch of car keys from the cabinet. He opened the door. As he left, I quickly waved, "Goodbye, darling. I'll wait for you to come home." Even though he couldn't see me, I still had to express my feelings, didn't I? I was truly too enthusiastic for my own good. As a glutton, I ultimately couldn't resist sneaking into the kitchen to steal some of his rice. His cooking skills were quite good, even better than I expected. After eating, I turned on his TV, but I didn't dare change the channel. What if I changed it and then forgot the old channel, and he found out when he returned? That would be my death. Luckily, the return of the Condor Heroes was still playing, episode after episode. The love story of little dragon girl and Yanguo captivated me. Soon, it was dark, and the TV started showing commercials for medicines. I didn't like watching them, so I turned off the TV and stood up to stretch. This house had no guardian deities, no ancestral spirits, but it had delicious food, a spacious bed, a handsome man, and a big screen TV. I really liked this house. At 8 p.m., I went to work, and he still hadn't returned. No wonder he slept until dawn and only went to work in the afternoon. Living like this was like sacrificing one's life, as hard as an ox. Being human was hard enough. Being a ghost was even harder. I worked in the human world, but for the underworld. I was an employee of the Celestial Earth Bank. Human families who wanted to burn paper money for their deceased relatives had to deposit it into the Celestial Earth Bank in the human world, clearly stating the recipient's name, so it could be properly distributed. That way, the deceased could receive money from the celestial Earth Bank in the Underworld. As for clothes, vehicles, houses, and such, they had to go through the Underworld Express Delivery Service, which would transfer these items from the human world to the Underworld. Each region, person, and status was clearly recorded, just like in the human world. There could be no confusion. However, most ghosts working in the human world, like me, were lonely. Wild ghosts with no status, poor benefits, and low salaries. Luckily, Sia and I were better off. Our work wasn't too busy, and we didn't have to do much manual labor. We could even chat during our free time. Really? No guardian deities, no ancestral spirits, and you can still eat at his house? Sia exclaimed in surprise when she heard me talk about the beautiful house I found. He must be a living person, right? Of course, I said. He cooks for himself, eats by himself, and even goes to work. The house is always bright, even during the day. Sia thought for a moment, then nodded. That's great then. You'll have a permanent place to stay. And he's a really good cook, I said happily. Tonight after work, I'll take you to his house for a free meal. Not tonight, Sia replied. I told you a few days ago, I have to go to the Underworld with my boyfriend. You said your boyfriend's identity has been verified? I remembered this and nodded. That's fine then. You take care of your business first. Sia was shy but beaming with joy. This time, I'm going with my boyfriend to visit his grandparents. If the two elders don't object, my boyfriend and I will register our marriage in the Underworld. That's wonderful. After you get married, you can transfer to work in the Underworld by the end of the year. Hearing that, I felt both happy and a sense of loss. Happy that Sia could live in the Underworld, but lost because I would lose my best friend. Sia smiled brightly. Wait till I get back, and we'll go check out that house together. Yeah, my heart couldn't help but be curious. I heard that marrying in the Underworld happens in each person's death zone, where you meet one of the 19 Yama kings who manage that area. And the Yama king himself stamps the marriage certificate, right? Sia nodded. I'll tell you all about it when I get back. I nodded excitedly. I haven't even met my district's Yama king yet. I wonder what he looks like. Also, I heard there's a beautiful Licori radiata flower on the banks of the Vongshuyen River in the Underworld. I wonder what that flower looks like. Sia, look closely and tell me when you get back. What are you two doing? Slacking off there. Manager Chen saw us and shouted, "Get back to work." After work, I bid Sia farewell and went to the bushes to retrieve my luggage. The moment I got home, I smelled the delicious aroma of braised beef. My stomach growled. Empty. With such good food, how could I leave? I tossed my luggage in the living room and headed straight to the kitchen. Beef noodles. He was making beef noodles. The broth was rich, the beef was tender, and there were tomatoes too. Sweet and sour tomato beef noodles. This is my favorite dish. I swallowed hard, watching him. He cooked so much. He probably wouldn't finish it all, right? He didn't answer. He scooped a huge bowl of beef noodles. About half the pot was still left. I sat next to him, watching him eat each noodle, each piece of meat, craving it so badly I couldn't stand it. I leaned closer to him, just a tiny bit more, and I would have kissed his face. I looked at his face right in front of me, then back at the tempting bowl of beef noodles, swallowed hard. I wanted it so badly. My lord. For some reason, I felt his hand holding the chopsticks. Paused slightly, but looking closely. He remained poker-faced and continued eating. I must have been hallucinating from the delicious smell. I wished he would go somewhere else for a while, so I could go into the kitchen and eat what was in the pot. It seemed God had heard my whispers. His phone rang, and the screen displayed the character hack, black dot. Black, Mr. Black Mrs. or Black Uncle. He looked up, put down his chopsticks, and picked up the phone. Still on the phone, he went upstairs. I immediately rushed into the kitchen, washed the dishes and chopsticks, then scooped out all the noodles from the pot. Slurp! Slurp! I slurped the noodles and ate the meat with gusto. Completely delicious. So good. If you hear clattering sounds in the kitchen in the middle of the night, don't immediately conclude it's mice. It might be ghosts looking for food. But encountering ghosts is rare because kitchens have the kitchen god, and shops and businesses have the god of wealth. That's why we lonely ghosts, even working in the human world, still have to spend money to buy food from the underworld. We can't eat other people's food. Of course, except for this house, I thought to myself as I slurped my noodles. Yes, I ate until I was truly satisfied. After washing the dishes, I put them back in their original place. Footsteps echoed from the staircase. He came down and sat back in his seat. As for me, after finishing his noodles, I sat opposite him, propping my chin on one hand, admiring his handsomeness with satisfaction. Damn it, I'm falling for this house more and more. I swear, I want to live here my whole life, until the day I reincarnate. Darling, thank you for letting me stay here. I smiled flirtatiously at him. I remembered seeing other female ghosts use this same flirtatious smile on handsome men, but my eyes twitched a little. I rubbed my eyes, squinted, and it seemed like he was looking at me. I jumped, quickly lowering my hand. Looking closer, he was indeed looking in my direction, but his gaze didn't waver. It just stared straight ahead. What are you looking at? I turned my head to follow his gaze. A black cat was lying on the living room windowsill of his house. It looked at me and meowed. I knew it saw me. I squinted and made a mean face at the black cat. Meow. It turned sharply and jumped off the windowsill. One cat, one ghost. I won. I laughed gleefully. Ha ha! Ah! Scaredy cat, aren't you? After cleaning up the dishes, he stood up and went upstairs. He truly was peculiar, living in such a huge villa, yet not a single servant. He did everything himself. I dragged my suitcase and trailed after him upstairs. There were 3 rooms upstairs. I intended to sleep in the next room, but I still remembered the warm, comfortable feeling of lying next to him, like being in someone's restroom. I decided to continue sleeping with him, of course, not because I was infatuated with his looks. He opened the bedside table drawer, took out a book with no words on the cover, and walked out. I followed to the door and saw him go out onto the second-floor balcony, holding a pen and sketching idly in the book. Looking at him, it would probably be a while before he came back inside. I dragged my suitcase into his walk-in closet, looking for a free spot to put my things. My luggage had been in the bushes for days, and my clothes were damp with yang energy, so they needed to be washed again. I also threw away my cheap toothbrush and toothpaste. From today on, I would use whatever the handsome man used, eat whatever he ate. So tonight, I took the opportunity to use the bathroom first and wash all my clothes. I planned to take advantage of his absence to dry my underwear and nightgown with a hairdryer, so I could wear them comfortably. Little did I know, I had just finished showering, stepping out with my underwear in hand when he returned to the room. I froze like a statue, stark naked. I knew he couldn't see me, but standing naked like this still made me a little hesitant. He can't see me, so what's there to be afraid of? I turned and walked brazenly in front of him. Once in the open, twice is a habit. He was here, so I couldn't conveniently use his hairdryer, nor did I dare to carry his laundry basket anywhere. My only option was to carry 2 items at a time, repeatedly bringing clothes out to the balcony to dry. He shaved, washed his face, brushed his teeth, trimmed his nails, then neatly groomed his thick eyebrows. Do beautiful people all take such meticulous care of themselves? I leaned close to him, tilting my head to admire him, then pressed my face close to his, both of us looking into the mirror. Comparing them, my eyebrows looked like wild weeds growing haphazardly. No one had ever trimmed them. I don't even know how to trim my eyebrows. I truly am a careless, sloppy ghostess. Before going to sleep, he, like yesterday, took out his tablet and started a movie. As for me, I was already familiar with the routine, settling into his lap to watch the movie with him. The movie was titled Even God. Must laugh 3. Master Lin avoided him and entered the snake cave. He was bitten by a snake, pulled out by others, and a huge python was dragged out. The scene was hilarious, but only my laughter, the laughter of a ghost, filled the room. I looked up at him. I never expected such a taciturn man to enjoy watching comedies like this. Indeed, you can't judge a book by its cover. Just like the night before, after the movie, he prepared to sleep. But tonight, I didn't dare to lie close to him anymore. After all, tonight, I was stark naked. I hugged the blanket and obediently curled up in a corner to sleep. Yet, when I woke up, I found myself not only lying close to him, but also clinging to him with my arms and legs. So handsome. It's a pity that humans and ghosts are on different paths. Otherwise, I would definitely take responsibility for him. 2 days later, Sia returned, her face beaming, holding 2 red certificates. Serafina, look, I registered my marriage. I opened it and immediately saw the Yama King's black seal on it. She pointed to it and said, "With this seal on the marriage certificate, you can apply to live and work in the underworld." Congratulations, Sia. Your bright future is... Your bright future. Serafina, Sia grabbed my hand, sighing, I really don't want to leave you. Oh, come on. What's there to be sad about? Who knows? Maybe soon I'll also find my identity, or snag a handsome guy with an underworld hookah and get married, then live there forever. Hearing me say that, Sia brightened up. That's true, huh? But Lord Yama is so high and mighty, cold and ruthless. Just looking at him makes my legs tremble and my heart pound. A tiny little ghost like me truly doesn't dare to aim so high. I'm just curious. I don't intend to aim high either. I asked again about the licorice radiata flowers by the Vongjuyen River. They really do exist. A whole field of vibrant red, each plant with only one bloom. A cluster of flowers at the top. Petals curved like dragon claws. See, I said, then gripped my hand tightly. Serafina, this time in the underworld, I also heard a rumor. Huh? What rumor? They say ghosts who died unjustly and lost their memories might have their past life, memories preserved on the items they carried at death. Sia asked me, Serafina, did you carry anything when you died? I thought for a moment. A white dress, plus a headband, and a butterfly hairpin. But they were all stained with blood. I put them away and left them there. Sia said, then go check them. I returned home and rummaged through my luggage, taking out the clothes I wore when I died. Unfortunately, there were no memories on them, as Sia had described. Tonight he bought so much food. It seemed he intended to make a grand meal. I showered, changed into clean clothes, and returned to find the blood-stained hairpin and headband still on the shelf. I hesitated, then took them into the bathroom to wash. Little did I know, the bloodstains from my death were stubbornly clinging. The ivory white headband, stained with blood, bloomed like a scarlet flower, and the red hairpin, already red, became even darker with the blood. I suddenly thought it looked rather beautiful. I adjusted my hair in the mirror, put on the headband, and clipped on the butterfly. As I left the room, I glanced at the painting on the wall. I had looked at it before when I first arrived. The entire room was simple and elegant, yet a painting of vividly colored flowers hung on the wall, their species unknown. A whole field of vibrant red, each plant with only one bloom, a cluster of flowers at the top, petals curved like dragon claws. I suddenly remembered Siaya's description of the licorice radiata flowers by the Vongjuyen River. The flowers in this painting looked exactly like that. Xia, does the human world also have licorice radiata from Vongjuyen River? The next morning I told Xia about this. How can that be? Vongjuyen is in the underworld. Even if there are licorice radiata in the human world, they would definitely be different from those in the underworld. C.A. shook her head. She said, the licorice radiata by the Vongjuyen River are also called Manjusaka flowers, symbolizing the departed souls. The two realms of yin and yang are separate. Serafina, I think the house you're staying in has problems. Sia looked worried. Tonight after work, I'll go back with you. We'll go to his house and see what's going on. I don't think there's any problem. He doesn't even see me, I said. If there's nothing wrong, then consider it us going to his house for a free meal, Sia said. Okay, I nodded. After work, I took Zia to his house. Pretty swanky villa, huh? Sia said, pulling me to peek at the house next door. The guardian deity of the house next door brandished a great saber, glaring fiercely at us. This place really is where living people reside. Sia scratched her head, looking puzzled. I guess I was overthinking it. Let's go. I pulled Sia's hand and stepped into his house. Indeed, there was no sign of any deities. So empty, Sia gasped, her eyes wide. Every night at this time, he cooks dinner, and he cooks a lot, I said, pulling Sia into the house. Hurry up! Soon we'll get another free meal. I pointed towards him. He is very handsome. You'll see him when he turns around. He's probably not as handsome as our Yama king. Sia scoffed. Just then, he carried a plate of food and turned towards us. Ah! Sia shrieked, yanking my hand hard, then turned and ran away. Ah! Run, Serafina! Run! What's wrong, Sia? Don't run! I quickly chased after her. Lord Yama. I quickly chased after her. That's Lord Yama. You really are an idiot, Sia yelled as she ran. Lord Yama, the one I always thought couldn't see me, turned out to be Lord Yama. Why, Sia, wait for me. A white beam of light shone onto the villa gate. I darted straight through it, as if running headfirst into someone's prepared sack, completely enveloped. Panicked, I struggled, but the white light was firm, tightening around me, pushing me back. Finally, I was pushed back into the dining room and made to sit next to him. Only then did the white light disappear. He sat at the dining table, his white shirt casually unbuttoned, 3 buttons revealing his collarbone, appearing and disappearing. What are you afraid of? He elegantly peeled a shrimp, glancing at me. The corner of his lips curved. Didn't you run around naked just before? This was the first time I'd seen him smile. His smile was captivating, but his words were terrifyingly venomous. I took off my clothes. Wasn't it because you tricked me? But I was angry and didn't dare to speak. Wah! Wah! Embarrassed and panicked, I bowed my head, my voice trembling. My lord, please spare my life. I did not mean to offend you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. At that moment, a set of dishes and chopsticks was placed in front of me. In the bowl was a large, perfectly peeled shrimp. I slowly looked up at him, saw him glance at me, then at the bowl in front of me. The meaning was very clear. Ah, I understand this. I immediately picked up the shrimp and brought it to his mouth. Well. My lord, please partake. For some reason, his face looked a little stunned. Then he slowly opened his mouth to take the shrimp I offered. Quickly after, he peeled another shrimp and placed it aside. I picked it up and fed it to him again. He peeled another. I fed another. He peeled another. I fed another. All the while, he stared at me, the corner of his lips curving higher and higher. His smile grew deeper. Indeed, he was very satisfied with my feeding. After eating 8 shrimps, he held the 9th, already peeled, but didn't put it in my bowl. He just held it in his hand, a mysterious smile playing on his lips, looking at me. This king has discovered that you truly are a talent. Why are you praising me so suddenly? I asked cautiously, my lord. You overpraise. I am already a ghost. At best, I'm just a talented ghost, huh? This time, he chuckled aloud, bringing the shrimp in his hand close to my mouth. Eat it. I quickly waved my hand. No, no, I wouldn't dare. I wouldn't dare. He snickered, looking at me with a teasing glint in his eyes. Count for yourself. How many meals have you eaten from this king in the past few days? Hearing that, I sincerely said, I'll compensate. I'll compensate you with money, my lord. What's fun about compensating with money? He just fed the shrimp into my mouth. How dare I not eat it? I intended to swallow it to get it over with, but unexpectedly, chewing one bite revealed it to be surprisingly delicious. Not compensating with money then? So what do you want? Compensating with a person? No. It should be compensating with a ghost. Lord Yama looked at me and said, offer yourself as compensation to this king. I was bewildered, not understanding anything. Compensate myself? My lord, what do you mean? Foolish ghostess. Suddenly, a strange voice echoed from behind me. Who? I jumped and turned around, seeing no one but a familiar black cat sprawled on the windowsill. The cat spoke. Heh, it's the scaredy cat here, of course. Cat, the cat can talk. My eyes widened, my mouth agape. The black cat leaped forward, instantly transforming into the black Wuchang. I had encountered the black and white Wuchang when I died. I was speechless. This black cat was the black Wuchang. The black Wuchang smiled at me. Nên trơn, hình như certain now, you did it. Ghostess, Lord Yama means you have to compensate him so he can eat you. Eat? Eat me? I trembled with fear, looking at them in astonishment. Eating ghosts. Eating ghosts. Eating ghosts. Eating ghosts. And even human. Lord Yama glanced at the black Wuchang, then waved his hand. The black Wuchang vanished. Lord Yama's power truly was terrifying. Was he trying to intimidate me? No, he was trying to scare me. Lord Yama, please don't eat me. I was so scared my limbs went limp and I collapsed to the ground, tears and snot streaming down my face. I'm a ghost who died unjustly. I definitely won't taste good. I'll be salty and fishy. Oh, not tasty. But last night, when you were stark naked in this king's arms, you smelled heavenly. No, no, not at all. Not fragrant in the slightest. I shook my head vigorously. Actually, not eating is fine too. I didn't know when he had squatted in front of me, using one finger to lift my chin, smiling as he looked at me. Then you just stay by this king's side, just like these past few days. I swallowed. Just like these past few days. He nodded. Just like these past few days. Hearing that, I found it difficult, stammered a bit. Then gathered all my courage to ask, no need to run around naked, okay? He chuckled softly. If you like, you can continue to be naked. I forced 2 laughs. He caressed my chin, narrowing his eyes in warning. Remember this. Don't even think about escaping. Otherwise, an adorable ghost like you, both fragrant and sweet, wouldn't be bad as food. I blinked my tear-filled eyes, nodding seriously. I won't run. Absolutely won't run. I'd be foolish not to run. The next day, As soon as he left, I grabbed my suitcase and fled that evening. I even considered abandoning my job. First, I had to hide. Better to starve than be eaten. I knew Sia would be worried about me, so I dragged my suitcase and went to find her. Serafina, are you okay? Thank goodness. Saya said she hadn't seen me run after her, and when she went back to look, she couldn't enter his house. She asked about last night's events. I recounted everything, including my plan to escape to save my life. Suddenly, a faint white light flashed on my neck, hot and tingling like ants biting. Serafina, what's that? Sia asked. I shook my head. I don't know either. Suddenly, I remembered. Last night, that wicked Lord Yama wanted to eat me, held me tightly in his arms, and sucked hard on my neck. Serafina, what's wrong? Why is your face red? Hearing her ask, I touched my face. My face is red. She nodded. I leaned close to her and told her about him biting me. Sia looked at me with a strange expression. Serafina, this is Lord Yama's mark. You can't escape. Ah, I stood frozen like a statue. Can't escape? I'm dead for sure. What should I do now? Can't escape? Does that mean I'll be eaten? Ha ha! Lord Yama was just scaring you. Sia laughed loudly and said, If I'm not mistaken, Lord Yama might even like you. Like me. I was so scared I shook my head vigorously. Don't joke. Lord Yama, said an adorable ghost like me, could be food. You're so silly, Serafina. Sia laughed, patting my head. Anyway, you can't escape. Just go home obediently later. You have Lord Yama's mark on you. He'll know wherever you run. If Lord Yama truly gets angry, then hey. I looked at Sia, feeling how cunning her smile was. Sia, how can you be so sure Lord Yama won't eat me? I was still very worried. I heard ghosts can eat ghosts, even humans. Those are evil spirits, the extremely wicked kind. The Underworld has rules. Such evil spirits will be permanently suppressed in the 18th layer of hell, and never reincarnated. The 19 Yama kings are actually ancient ghost kings, incarnations of gods. That wicked Lord Yama tricked me again, the despicable man. In the end, I didn't dare to run away, but after work, I didn't want to go back to Lord Yama's house immediately. I just wandered the streets, looking at the empty streets at 5 a.m., then saw the Ferris wheel still turning late at night. Then I passed a noisy bar street. 7 or 8 fashionably dressed people, drunk, hugging each other, stumbled past me. I vaguely saw the last girl, with a red butterfly hairpin in her hair, exactly like mine. My head suddenly felt like it was hit by a hammer. Countless fragmented memories flashed in my mind. I struggled under a man's body. I lay in a pool of blood, the pain suddenly vanishing, and those memories broke off. I looked up at the people walking to the side of the road. That hairpin, the problem must be with that girl's hairpin. I dragged my suitcase and followed closely, but the closer I got, the more my heart pounded. I felt scared, but I didn't know what I was afraid of. The closer I got to them, the more fear surged in my heart, and my whole body involuntarily trembled. Suddenly, I turned and ran away. An intuition urged me, run! Run now! Run to a safe place. I ran straight back to Lord Yama's house. In the blink of an eye, I was standing in front of the villa gate. Dragging my suitcase, I peeked in from outside the door. A faint aroma wafted out, sweet and sour, incredibly enticing. I craved it so much my stomach growled. So hungry. If you don't come in, the hot and fragrant tomato beef and sweet and sour ribs will get cold, Lord Yama's voice echoed. He didn't seem angry. Oh, I hesitated for a moment, then still dragged my suitcase inside. He carried a plate of steamed fish he had just taken off the stove, turned towards the dining room, looked up at me and said, "Wash your hands and eat." The suitcase I was dragging, he acted like he didn't see it. "Yes," I said, putting down my suitcase and going to wash my hands. Salt and pepper fried shrimp, tomato beef, sweet and sour ribs, whole steamed pomfret, stir-fried garlic vegetables, winter melon, and sea snail soup. Lord Yama introduced each dish to me. I looked at him and, following his hint, fumbled in my pants pocket, pulling out a wad of money. Living expenses, I carefully tucked the money into his hand. He took the money, looked at me, and said nothing. I asked, "Not enough?" He remained silent. I looked at the table full of dishes, each with perfect color, aroma, and taste, and thought to myself, my meager half-month's salary probably isn't worth much. My heart ached, but then I took out the rest of my money, closed my eyes, and handed it to him. "My lord, is that all?" "That's all the salary I just received for the whole month. Living expenses?" Lord Yama raised an eyebrow and asked, "Then where's the rent?" My eyes widened, my mouth agape. "There's rent too." "Then I'll leave." But I didn't dare to say it. If he intended to let me go, he wouldn't have stopped me yesterday, nor bitten me and left a mark. I looked at the dishes on the table, then turned to him. "Then, after eating, can I wash the dishes?" "What else?" "I'll clean the house." I finished speaking, seeing him still looking expectantly, so I gathered all my courage and said in one breath, "My lord, I don't know how to cook, but besides cooking, I'll take care of all the other housework." "Okay," he nodded, a hint of satisfaction on his face, then took my hard-earned money and counted each bill. This Lord Yama is greedy for money, but after finishing this meal, I felt it was truly worth every penny. It was so delicious. So I began washing dishes, cleaning the house, scrubbing toilets, working like a dog for Lord Yama. At night, after showering, I secretly looked at Lord Yama lying on the bed, knowing in my heart that he actually didn't eat ghosts. He was just scaring me. I was much less afraid than last night. I walked over and asked, "My lord, can I sleep in the room next door?" He looked up at me. "Why?" I laughed ingratiatingly. "I don't want to disturb your sleep." "No bother at all." He pulled back the blanket and patted the spot next to him. "Come here and watch a movie together." No. I think I'll disturb you. I'll go to the room next door." Before I could finish, I was pulled onto the bed, falling into Lord Yama's arms. He wrapped his arms around me, holding me snugly. My identity exposed, he no longer hid anything. With his power, the wardrobe automatically opened, and the tablet and stand flew over by themselves. The movie automatically started playing. I looked up at him, about to struggle after the movie. "Can I go to the room next door? Didn't you say that if humans and ghosts weren't on different paths, you would definitely take responsibility for this king? This handsome, This handsome, overbearing Lord Yama said he wanted to be my boyfriend, telling me not to envy Sia. Following him, I wouldn't just live in the underworld, but could also wander around there. But I'm not a crab. Why would I walk sideways? I naturally refused immediately. Furthermore, I exposed his trick of saying he would eat me. This king doesn't like eating ghosts. But you dare to tease this king and hug this king to sleep night after night. That crime is enough to throw you into the oil vat, shattering your bones and soul. He smiled lazily at me. This king doesn't force you. You choose one of the two, dating or being fried crisp into ghost crumbs. Under the pressure and allure of Lord Yama, I wanted to cry so badly. Finally, sweet love tortured me. Oh no, it came to me. When I nodded in agreement, Lord Yama took my butterfly hairpin, saying it was a token of our engagement. He caressed my face and gently said, "As this king's woman, you no longer need to do housework. From now on, this king will take care of everything." Giving everything to him, didn't that mean I would suddenly become a doting little wife? But the next day, I learned that he was Lord Yama, vastly different from ordinary ghosts. He only needed to use a little magic power, and the mop would automatically clean, dishes would automatically wash, and toilets would automatically scrub. The trap I fell into most must surely be Lord Yama's trap. That ain't nil. He even said that if I actively kissed him once, he would give me 10 million. Is 10 million a lot for one kiss? No, because the human world had printed 100 million underworld currency, causing inflation in the underworld. Currently, 100 million is only equivalent to 100 pre-inflation yuan. My monthly salary was 1.5 billion. So, to reclaim my hard-earned money from my timid shyness, now, whenever I had the chance, I would rush at Lord Yama, kissing him repeatedly. And sometimes he would initiate it too. So I would take the risk, kiss him 8 times a day, and immediately have 100 million in my pocket. How are things with Lord Yama lately? Sia poked my arm, her face beaming. I was a little embarrassed. Still the same, still as shameless. Lord Yama likes you? Sia asked. Who knows? I whispered into her ear. But he told me to be his girlfriend. Oh my goodness! Really? Sia exclaimed. Manager Chen walked over, pointed at us. Slacking off again? Deducting salary, 100 million each. Manager Chen, no, please. Sia ran over to Sweet Talker. We're discussing Seraphina's important matters. What important matters? Manager Chen looked at me. I quickly shook my head. Nothing, ma'am. Sia interjected again. Yes, there is. She has a boyfriend. Manager Chen was surprised. A boyfriend? Yeah, explained. Boyfriend? Really? Manager Chen smiled at me. Good news. Good news. Okay. Today I'll only deduct Sia's salary. Sia's face crumpled. Huh? Manager Chen deducted 200 million from Sia's salary as a congratulation for Seraphina escaping spinsterhood. Sia, why don't you just kill me? To congratulate Seraphina, deducting my salary is taking my ghost life. I stood by, laughing until my stomach hurt. 8 p.m. in the human world was when our shift began. Not long after starting, it became noisy outside. I had just come out of the restroom when my colleague, Li Yun, immediately pulled me away. Serafina, hurry up. Only you are missing. Missing me for what? What's going on? A big shot is here, top tier. Petty ghosts like us must go pay our respects. In the bank hall, a crowd of kneeling ghosts gathered. Some were bank employees like us. Others were customers depositing or withdrawing money. All ghosts were kneeling now. Li Yun pulled me down to kneel in the back row, saying it was a big shot. I was also scared. But I suddenly remembered. Wasn't the boss of our area my boyfriend? I looked up, trying to see, but Li Yun immediately pressed my head down, whispering, "Do you have a death wish? Lord Yama, do you have any instructions for us?" This voice belonged to my bank director. "Director Ryu!" Looking for someone. A man's voice, very pleasant to listen to. "Serafina, come out." There was only one Serafina in this place, myself. Everyone uniformly turned to look at me, eyes wide, faces filled with fear. They must not have expected that I, the youngest, lowest paid, and most insignificant person, knew the boss. Hee. I gave a few forced laughs at everyone, then stood up. Lord Yama waved at me. "Come here." I walked over, lowering my voice to ask, "Why are you here?" He took my hand. "I'm taking you somewhere." He directly used magic to transport me. As we left, I heard Manager Chen exclaim in surprise, "Ah, so Serafina's boyfriend is Lord Yama." Lord Yama took me to a small forest where 2 police cars were parked, their headlights illuminating the area. A police officer led a handcuffed young man out of a car. Half of his upper body is buried in this patch of land. The handcuffed man pointed. I found him somewhat familiar. I think I've seen him somewhere before. Suddenly, I remember. Ah, yes. A few days ago, I passed a street full of bars and saw a group of boys and girls gathered. He was one of them. At that time, he was hugging a girl, and she had a butterfly hairpin in her hair exactly like mine. The police officers took shovels and started digging. "Captain Yan, we found it." What they unearthed from the ground was half a skeleton, the part with the skull. Zhang Ruoqi's body has finally been fully recovered. Inform her family. Zhang Ruoqi. Why does that name sound familiar? Zhang Ruoqi. Zhang Ruoqi. My head suddenly throbbed intensely. Lord Yama took out my butterfly hairpin, but there were no blood stains on it now. He clipped it into my hair. "You are Zhang Ruoqi." He reached out and embraced me. "I am Zhang Ruoqi, so that skeleton is me." At that very moment, my lost memories flooded back. My name is Zhang Ruoqi, a first-year university student majoring in applied chemistry. After military training, during the first specialized class, I fell in love with my physical chemistry teacher at first sight. He must have been around 27 or 28, wearing gold-rimmed glasses, looking very intellectual. He was tall and handsome, extremely handsome, in fact. But I was infatuated with him, not just for his outer appearance, but for a feeling of long-standing familiarity from our very first meeting. I turned to my roommate, who was also my best friend, Wang Xia. "Wang Xia, I just met the teacher, and I feel as familiar as an old married couple." He's definitely mine. Wang Xia, munching on her fries, burst out laughing, not even trying to hide her teasing smirk. Oh, come on. You're just smitten because Teacher Yama is handsome, and you're trying to act all pure and elegant. I didn't even bother to deny. Hey, I'm a girl. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I just have a slight weakness for handsome men. So what's wrong with that? Of course, I knew Teacher Yama was the #1 heartthrob at school. My infatuation with him was purely a daydream. Teacher Yama was just an illusion of mine in this human world. However, fate is often magical. From that day on, I started bumping into him frequently. Once, then again, and many more times. Finally, I managed to win over that top-tier heartthrob. It was Friday evening. There were no night classes. I finished showering and waited for our scheduled time before heading downstairs. Teacher Yama. The moment I saw him waiting below, I rushed towards him like a small firecracker, launching myself into his arms. He chuckled, reaching out to catch me and holding me tightly. We left the school and began our romantic evening date. Teacher Yama was handsome, gentle, and a little overbearing. He treated me incredibly well. Every day I was with him, I felt like I was floating on clouds. Many times I thought a man, this good must be quite a playboy. I even mentally prepared myself to experience heartbreak someday. Yet 4 years passed, and no other woman ever managed to interfere. On graduation night, he proposed to me. I asked, why are you so good to me? Will you be this good to me for the rest of your life? Yes, he said. I came to this human world precisely because of you.